Welcome back, everybody. Airmid here. Today we're gonna go over real quickly some cool ways to both clean up your UI a little bit, but also become a better raider. So if you'd like to not look like a total mess and have better derps, let's hit the show. How often do people just look up, what add-ons should I get? What are the best add-ons? They ask their guildies, they ask whoever, and they just download them and they never touch them again. I bet a lot of people do it. And I think that's one of the biggest mistakes you could be making if you're trying to become a better player. You probably have too much information on your screen because you haven't gone through and trimmed it out. 2, you have information on your screen that's useful, but you're not using it. And 3, you have tools that you could change, but you don't know how to change them. A lot of people will say you don't need meters. I think they're wrong. They're absolutely wrong. You definitely need meters if you want to be a better raider, because there are, especially when you're progressing, you should be trying to find better ways to play. Each boss fight has different mechanics. You should be, if you're trying to min-max especially, you're like, what can I do to change this and that so that I can get the most damage out right now? And if you make a change, you want to see a return of investment that makes sense. So if you're taking a lot of damage, is there a talent that could help you to take less type of that damage, right? You can also look at damage taken for all sorts of other stuff, and guess what? So can your raid leader. Let's look at that real quick. What kind of damage can you take? Well, this is a mythic that we were just screwing around in, so obviously this doesn't make a lot of sense, but if I had one of my actual raids like Rathian or something that most people know, you could go through and you could see how much damage you're taking, and you could start to understand if you messed up on a fight, if other people were messing up on a fight, etc., etc. How do you do this? You just come over, right click, go to damage taken. It gives you this screen. You hover over your guy, you can see how much damage you took from all the different moves. So if there's some moves that are non-avoidable, you're like, okay, I took damage from that. That makes sense. If you take damage from a move that should only be hitting the tank, though, you got messed up. You need to fix something. If you took damage from completely avoidable damage, you or the raid messed up. Someone messed up and now completely avoidable damage wasn't avoided. Why was it not avoided? You at least know, oh, this could have been avoided. Now all you have to figure out is how to fix it. If you have semi-avoidable damage, and that's like when you drop a pull off, you drop a pull off on the side of the room, and usually you have like a couple of ticks as you're walking out of that pool in which you're taking damage. So you expect to take a little bit, not a lot of it. One of the first things you can do is, just kind of look up the percentages, and, if Holy Shock for a pally is not one of their main heals right away, anybody that's looking at them knows they're doing something wrong. Anybody who knows pally. So simple way, if you're trying to learn classes, make sure you're doing it right. You can also just go through here and check out all this other stuff. There's all sorts of stuff that you can look through here. Auras, void zones, damage taken by spell, overhealing if you're a healer, how much mana was restored. Maybe there was some chances you could have restored more mana. Maybe that's why you guys lost the fight. How many people were actually doing the interrupts? Maybe your damage is lower than normal at least. But you look over here to interrupts and you realize you're the only one who's doing interrupts. Well, if other people were doing interrupts, then you wouldn't have to do them, so presumably your damage would go up, right? DBM. How many people open up DBM and they never touch it, right? So DBM gives you a lot of warnings. Not all of them are always on, but the majority of them are on, and you probably don't need. So you definitely need to just kind of look through here. I did the first few as just to show you as an example, but let's look at this real quick. Announce stage changes. For me as a healer, I do kind of need that because I'm not always watching the boss's movements. Sometimes my eyes are on the health pools of everybody in the raid, so I don't see the animation as soon as I might see the warnings. That's really helpful to me. But if you're a tank, I don't know. I honestly don't know, but that might be something because the boss is right in front of you. You see as soon as he turns away. Maybe you don't need that, and if that's just information that's on your screen that you don't need, click it off. Burning Cataclysm. Rathion teleports to a random spot and spews, so this is part of his stage change. To me, this was a little redundant. I didn't need it. And it's super obvious. By that point, if I'm only staring at my healing meters and I haven't done something different, huge mistake, right? Let's look at Searing Armor. Inflicts a crap ton of damage every 1 second, increases the damage of Searing Breath by 80% for 20 seconds. Well, I can tell almost right away because I've been raiding for more than a day that that's a tank mechanic, but if I didn't know, I could always come out here. I could have a guide open. That's another great way. You can have a guide open and you can be looking at the guide or watching the guide and just kind of going through what all the spells do and track what you need to actually know as your class and role. But still, if you don't have that, you can come down here and you can see tank swap before your stacks of searing armor get too high. You'll clean up your UI a lot better, but you also understand the fight a lot better, right? Because you're going through and you understand all the mechanics, not just your mechanics, not just what you see, but what the actual moves are and what they do and how they affect everything. You understand what you don't need to worry about, what you do need to worry about. I think as long as you watch the video and you come in here and you kind of clean up your DBM or whatever boss mod you use, just a really great way to not just learn the fight, but you're actually getting something out of it because you're getting a cleaner screen. Weak auras is another big one. A lot of people will use weak auras to tell them what's up with their character, what's up, what's down, cooldowns, etc. When needs to be used, when, where, how, why, what, whatever, right? I think this was, what's it called, the Luxthos or whatever. This was one of the typical Pally layouts. I just renamed it. I changed it a little bit. I made it the way that I like to make it, and I still change this all the time because I'm never completely happy. I'm never satisfied. In the words of Alexander Hamilton, I'll never be satisfied. Added some moves that he wasn't tracking that I felt that I needed to track. Came through here, and honestly, you know what? When I first came through here, I was learning Pally, and where is it? And I was like, okay, Infusion of Light. Why do I need to learn that? What is that? And I went out there and I actually checked out what Infusion of Light was, and I learned something. So this is a great way to kind of just go through and understand your character a little bit more. And if there's stuff in here that, I never use Blade of Justice no matter what, okay, well, get it out. One, it's taking up more memory space, not a lot, but it does add up. And two, if it's actually something you don't need to know, but it's showing up on your screen, then why have that? Of course, this can be applied to a lot of add-ons. I just kind of focused on a few of the add-ons that are really popular today. What I want you guys to truly get out of this is a couple of things. One, if you're going to load an add-on, understand why you're loading that add-on. Don't just load anything because the guildie tells you. Load the add-on because the guildie tells you, but then go in and actually do the work, and you'll find surprisingly you become a better raider, a better player. You'll know your character better. Go through DBM or whatever boss mods. Take out the stuff you don't need. You don't need all this stuff on your screen, and you'll probably you won't realize it till you start cleaning and pruning all this stuff out. But once you do, I guarantee it, you're gonna say, I feel a little bit less stressful in raids now. Guarantee it. All right. If you don't, leave it in the comments. If you do feel less stressful, leave it in the comments. Okay, guys, I want to hear the praise. I want to hear the love. Until next time, peace, love, and Warcraft, Air Squad.